right, everybody, this is going to be my first go at reviewing the incidents from the race as I have the full race replay with all of the cars rendered. You can see my computer. I've moved it up to 540p for the recording. More than that, and it's so choppy, it's ridiculous. You can see I'm getting 17 frames per second right here with everything is just grinding. But we're gonna do. I'm gonna do the best I can. The reminder because I've had a bunch of outreaches by private messages through Facebook, private messages through iRacing member site. There's been posts, so there's different. I'm getting kind of a mild onslaught of, hey, this happened to me, and take care of this, and we have clearly outlined rules for submission for review in the rules and regs. They're outlined so that you can provide me with the correct car number and correct lap number in order to guarantee that I can find it. I'm not going to sit around for hours going, did I get everything? Where is it? Because the incident search feature in the sim it is faulty. It will not find everything. Some things provide 0 X's and therefore it won't look at them at all. Others may happen within a few seconds of another one, and if I look at one for a few seconds, then that one is now passed in the timeline and it won't show up. So follow the rules and regs, rules for submission, for rules for review submission in order to guarantee that I get a good look at it and can provide it here in the review. All right, so that's my opener. I'm going to, let's start going through it. So unfortunately, this is lap 0, or pace lap. And what I'm seeing here from both drivers is just appears to be a general lack of awareness, trying to hurry up and catch up with the pack, or what I really don't know. But we have a turn in towards the racing line and a late break to get to stay on the inside. Both drivers could have just held a better line, slower speed. We're on the pace lap. There's just nothing. I can't fault either one of these guys. As both of them are trying to get to the same spot at the same time, just generally unaware that there's another car next to them. From that cockpit view, this is going into first turn, but you can see it looked like he was trying to do everything he could to keep it off the track, but with the tail going out, it just wasn't having none of it. But it looked like a valiant effort to prevent that thing from coming on the track from here. So here's our first strike in the off-camber lap 1 in the off-camber left-hander. Just simply not in control of the vehicle, and basically a punt. It's not like a hairpin turn where punts usually arrive, but we have a punt that put the driver into the wall. This one goes down as a racing incident. No fault or strikes on anybody. We have one driver who is at the track limits. Now, granted, so everybody understands, you're not going to get an X. The virtual steward doesn't give you an X until you get out there onto that green paint. But the track limits are that white painted line. So once you're past that, you're garnering the attention of the virtual stewards, but then not till you're out here on the green stripe do they actually provide you with the penalty. Or the X. So he is out there as far as he can be at this point. He can go farther, but we're on the exit of that, and we have both cars side by side through the turn, ending up in a battle for the spot there on the right. You can see I can't find blame on either one of these guys. Simple racing incident. I had to go back because this one was just so bizarre. I couldn't understand why there was so much aggression there. So I went back and looked, and he was out of shape and passed by the two cars that he just wrecked there going into the hairpin. So the why is interesting, but doesn't have much to do with the end result of going for a no presentation push for a hopeful three wide situation of the hairpin on lap one. So there's our second strike. While I myself and many others will frown upon too wide passing into this upcoming left-hand turn, we have good to excellent presentation coming out of the hairpin, and we have a battle through this left-hander, which is granted a recipe for disaster when two wide situations occur. But we have a clean battle with excellent presentation, and then we have inability to hold an inside line. So So we have I had to make sure I had the right name for my strike list here. So what we have there is with that inability to hold the inside line during a clean battle position or a just battle position. I've got to give a strike to that inability to hold the inside line, as that falls into the category of not respect for the racing room that the other driver has a right to. We're back. We're back to this one for the view of the track re-entry. Which he's got it under power. He's accelerating, looking for an entry back, and here he finds out that I hit the wrong button. Here he finds out that the car has some significant damage, and the wheels don't want to line up. And unfortunately, this is not what he wanted to do. I don't believe in any respect, but it put him back out into the track. That's in so many ways unfortunate, and in error, bad judgment, bad decisions. I don't see any desire there to get back on the track and wreck somebody. But nevertheless, we do end up with another incident that damages another driver after he comes to a stop in the middle of the track. Right about the same time, we have that. We have a little bit of evasive maneuvers, probably took his eye off the ball. Never once hit the brakes. Not once. I mean, let's go with, okay, there's some stuff going on here on the left. You're not, you've got different things to focus on. You miss your braking point and you have contact. And that happens. It happens to a lot of people. But then this inability here to then apply the brakes and not cause further damage shows the intent to just pile drive through this, take the X off the track, and get back on. This is completely wrong on so many levels. The car in front of you with the initial intact could have gotten away with just some mild rear damage, but now he's got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 more hits. He's almost flipped upside down. He's pushed, spun all the way around. It's complete disregard and disrespect for others on the track. It shows just the desire to take advantage of iRacing's time frame where X's can be done. So you got a 4X from the hit and then just went, well, I'll just take this nice long loop on the outside and get back onto the track and lose as little time as possible. Complete and utter disrespect from everybody. This is only one incident, so I can only give you one strike for this. But trust me, this is making me think, hey, I should allow 2 strikes for an incident. Completely, this is irreprehensible. went back a little bit, and here's what we have that kind of inspired that. Now, what I'm seeing here is a clearly he didn't. This guy is surprised by how slow everybody is down here, and does his best to avoid wrecking anybody, and it almost succeeds, but the grass makes the car loose, unstable, and puts him out, and this happens. So that, I believe, is what inspired. What we have here is a intentional wreck. Not what I originally thought it was, where, oh, there's something going on my left, I better pay attention. This is an intentional destruction of another race car driver. That is an iRacing protestable offense that I will do because I have the replay. It is my responsibility per the official racing code, the official sporting code of iRacing and my membership and subscription to report that. It also is going to see further administration duties once I get done with this review. And we'll say this because this is where I went back to look back at it, because I was looking at how much damage it did to him here, because the next incident was him catching the wall up here, and I went, wow. So hit the replay button to just grab a quick image of this to show, look how much damage you did, and that's when I went back too far on accident, which is why I caught the instigator for this. Well, this one ends up being just a simple punt, which I believe comes from the 3 wide situation coming into this turn, and just a general unpreparedness for how slow they were going to be. That is unfortunately, though, that is a punt from the rear. Just got to be better on those brakes. So there's another one. We've got some net code there going into turn 1, which just looks, I don't see, our inside car is a little bit unstable on his line. It looks like he's a little bit, not quite holding that line. Our outside driver is taking an outside, but we've got some net code. Oh, that camera's not. All right, there is the quintessential essence of one of the most problem incidents in iRacing's lower IR groups. This is a zero presentation, late brake dive, inability to hold the inside line. #1 cause of most fights, incidents, wrecked cars in the lower IR groups on iRacing. This is something that everybody needs to learn not to do. This is a strike. Zero presentation, waiting for, just diving in, you're forcing the car you plan to overtake with a dive bomb, which you hope to hold the inside line on, but fail to do so. It's unfortunate. This just is, like I said, this is the #1 hate inspiring, argument causing thing on iRacing. Everyone should learn not to do this. Control your vehicle. Do not, you've got to break out of passes if you don't have presentation with strangers. Once you've raced with a guy a few thousand laps, 100 laps, numbers of 1,000 turns, 100 laps, you know the person, you get better at their stuff, you know they're not going to have a netcode issue, or you know they are, you know to leave a little bit more room, then yeah, that's where leagues come in handy. You get to make those decisions with people. But when you're stranger on stranger, such a bad recipe. That is just got to be avoided. So interesting that our next find on the incident search brings us back to one which starts way back here. I rewound to find out what's going on because you're going to enjoy the end of this one. We have is another zero presentation late brake dive. inspiring some and even caught the grass, making it a little bit looser, but that inspires, I guess, a little bit more red mist and hatred. But like I just said on the last one, this is an unacceptable maneuver. I recognize it's a racing thing that people will do, but you've just got to learn to save this stuff for doing that when you know people. Once you've put in the laps, then you can expect that you can do this. But in the early stages of getting to know racers or not knowing them and doing this kind of thing, it's just a guarantee. It's a recipe for disaster. You're making your life hard on yourself by doing this, especially in a 90-minute race on lap one. But this isn't even the one that we're dealing with. This is just going back to show what inspired it. So he was loose, got around again, and then let's turn this camera back around because here we go. Here comes the fun part. Oop, I took the camera too far. This is most exhilarating. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna try doing some what? Come on, people. What is happening here? Okay, let's go with some education here. First things first. We've got a battle going up a straight. The racing line is as far left of this on this straight as possible because we have a right-hand turn coming up. That is the expected racing line. And we have a full-on pinch to the inside from our outside driver closest to the racing line, and the desire from our inside driver to get as close to the racing line as possible, leaving room for the car that's attempting to overtake him. That's how you defend. So he's going to start moving a little bit to the left. Of course, he can't see the guy who's overtaking him on the left, but he should know he's got about 4 car lengths out there, which he should have the expected right to room for. And we have a full pinch, and then I'm just going to go ahead and door slam you. I think that might be protest number 2. All right, this one, first glance, is very unfortunate. And I honestly only just took a very brief first glance at it. Our car here catches a little bit of the grass while there's an overtaking car on his inside. Actually, let me make sure that's right. No, he is the overtaking car. Okay. We have almost excellent presentation here in this straight, which has a little side to side. We'd have good presentation. And we don't actually, he doesn't affect the pass, but he still holds up with a side to side after achieving good presentation. And he stays, he's holding left, he's showing respect, so is the other driver, but I think that just accidentally he catches some grass, which bumps him out into the track a little bit, causing this. I'm finding difficult. I'm going to have to call this just a racing incident. We have a good battle going down. We have close to, I can't really call it a pinch because there's enough room there, but more room would be very helpful in these early stages of not knowing our drivers and whatnot. He does leave enough room for a car, but not enough room for any net code. Where does he go off into the grass? There's a little mistake because he had more room. He didn't have to touch the grass and unsettle the car. But it was that, yeah, this is just an incident. I can't, there's no fault in here. Everybody could share a little bit more room. I'm at a bit of a loss for words here. That's just, you've got a guy who just overtook you very easily on the outside. You've got car damage. he gave you the entire track. He went so far out wide that there's just no reason for any contact to occur here, and yet we have just a straight line. Or I guess I'll call this a hot lap hero. You only know one way around the track, maybe. Just you cut to the inside there, and you go to the outside here, which unfortunately is not a good racing line for this turn, because you really want to hold this one inside because of the hard left-hander you've got coming up where you need to be on the far right side of the track. You really want to hold this turn far to the right inside, not way out here. But to just drive straight across, unfortunately, I've already got one protest on you and 2 strikes. So we've just had numerous of this, and we've passed the pit entrance, and they're decided to do another lap around. I'm starting to get worried. Another classic example of dive bomb. Zero presentation. Zero presentation until the apex. That's unacceptable. I see no trouble with this one. Nothing strike worthy. Just a simple incident. We have good presentation. And what I saw there is there's a mild contact with our pink car in the front here from our gray car that just had a successful good presentation overtake. Very mild contact, which caused this incident search found. But he was doing everything he could to stay out of that after the clean pass. Why that contact happened, I don't know, and it wasn't significant, so I don't see an incident here. This one is interesting. We have an overtake on the outside, and our car being overtaken goes far to the inside. Is hugging the inside of the track, on the inside of the track, rather than staying close to the racing line, but leaving respectful room. He's left way more than respectful room, and the overtake is taken cleanly. And then we have a zero presentation late break dive right through and offline. So we've got an X here, or excuse me, not an X. We have a strike here. Got a little bit of a double pile up punt action here. Not sure why. Some may say that that's an early break, but here in a battle for 21st and 22nd position, I find I can't really go with that. The best way to do this turn with the current setup and conditions is really to break it later and get in, but this is a normal and should be an expected braking point for our back markers. So I'm gonna have to throw an exit for punt here, or a strike for a punt. So we have what looks like another late break, the classic zero presentation late break dive on the inside from to overtake a driver who is holding a mildly defensive line. And we never even got to any presentation. You can almost say that's an in. So he might have got a little bumper, front bumper to rear bumper, and then I guess that was a misshift just through all the trouble, not a direct attempt to slam them again. I'm gonna hope. Would like to add right here that this is a very nice example. Oh, maybe not. I was about to say it was a nice example of showing good track etiquette on track reentry because I see him pause here and wait for two cars to go by. But that actually caused an incident behind him, forcing a car to come to a complete stop in order to avoid hitting him. This is sadly not how we re-enter a track. This is not how we show. This is, I believe I put it in the rules and regs. Track re-entry is the simplest and most overt opportunity for everyone to show respect for other drivers. There's just a lot of cars on the track coming through, and to throw yourself out there at a big cloud of smoke right in front of them, forcing one guy to come to a complete stop to avoid, and that's just not how we re-enter the track. Here is the behind view of that with the mild tap incident that occurred. No incidents for there are no strikes for that. We have here an unfortunate two-car spin with a good overtake through turn one. Excellent presentation coming into this off-camber, which dangerous turn for too wide. But I do see an attempt from both drivers to. Everybody tried to leave room. There might have been some mistakes made, but nothing strike-worthy here. This is racing incident. Well, there's a nice gaggle coming through here, and there is a lap down car doing a very respectful hugging the outside to leave plenty of room. One of the cars in our gaggle takes a defensive line, and one of our cars is everybody's doing their best they can to get through here. As much as this looks like a punt because it's from the rear, it's not a. I'm not going to call that. There's a lot going on here, and a lot of decisions are being made. There's an unfortunate racing incident, but everybody was showing respect and attempting to make that clean. More time, more races, more experiences. We'll have less of these. Now this one here, unlike the last one, is from an aggressive stance. We have a look on the inside, not a staying in line and braking and trying not to hit while everybody slows up unexpectedly. But we have I'm gonna peek inside, scare more bully or scare, natural racing intimidation maneuver. Nothing wrong with it. It can intimidate and can mess some people up. But unfortunately, what that caused is some contact. Decisions were made from that position of aggression on the inside. Either we have an early break, a harder break, different line break, nervous tensions. There's a car trouble on the inside. That aggressive stance instead of is the cause of this punt. So I'm gonna have to throw a strike at that one. All right, so this one wasn't the quintessential late break dive to the inside, but it was a late break that well, we had a punt that resulted in a full spin out for a car, so I've got to do an X on that one. set off there for a moment to grab a drink. That was some really nice avoidance there from the back of that pack. And this is a very difficult one to judge by because we have the two cars that were involved are the leader of the race and a lap down car. Now, what's important to note here is that both cars have a right to racing room and both cars are involved in separate battles. There is an expectation that a leader is going to get around or that a lap down car should facilitate that pass. And what I'm seeing, I'm actually kind of torn on this one. Our lap down car is on a defensive line on the inside after our leader gets a good run through turn one. It's in many ways he's stuck out here and he wants to maintain as fast. He has a right to go as fast as he can around the track because he's still got his own race to deal with. And here we have it's not like there's not enough room, and it looks like we actually have some netcode contact. So we have some netcode, and we have very little room granted for the lap down car from our leader, and we have it's not like our lap down car lost his line. He's still within the range of holding that line. But we've got a clean presentation side by side. Granted, it's hard to think of them as battling since they're battling the others, and one would hope that for future reference, our lap down cars might facilitate that pass because it's more of a benefit to themselves to give a little bit of lift in the gas through here, and then take some draft up from the leaders and that could very well be more beneficial to your race. I'm having issues seeing this as a strike on anyone though. It's too much of a racing incident. Everybody, both of our guys here, lap down and leader, have a right to get around this turn as fast as they possibly can for their own individual races. And we have some net code, and we have just not much room shared amongst strangers. It's internet racing. I'm calling it a racing incident. A little late on the brakes, maybe. I don't know if yellow flags and warnings are going out, but how much can you see here? Let me go to a quick cockpit. Where are you, cockpit? Oh, I hate trying to find these things in the list. Full visible and still on the accelerator. Yeah, there's not much you could do here. That's just unfortunate in many levels. Sorry to see that happen. Another view, a couple cars back. We have some excellent avoidance by these two. This is a most unfortunate punt as we have a battle of 3 cars for 11th place and a lap down car who is the actual punter involved here. The punter punting our leader for the lap 11 battle. So as you can see there, we just had a loose rear end. Car came to a complete stop and then proceeded to use the throttle and get back on, thus making himself a moving target for for traffic, who had nowhere to go as they'd already made a decision to pass on the left side of the track in front of the car. And once you started to move, you forced an accident that should not have ever happened. Another unfortunate incident, no issues. Racing incident, exiting the pits into turn one, no issues. Bad decision. I'm not going to go with any issues on this one, as we had a damaged car holding the outside line and an overtaking car with a misjudgment. Um, Misjudgment characterized by the unsurprised by the lap down car's speed. Just a racing incident. So what I see here is a bully tactic with this here late look, which intimidated and scared the lap ahead car, because we have a lap down car behind and a lap ahead car in front. Intimidated him off the racing line, and then we have a full-on pinch to the inside, 3 car lengths away from the actual racing line, in which pinch ends up in a very unfortunate occurrence. The look is that's a racing tactic, intimidation, and that's to be expected. But a pinch like that on a car who's a lap ahead of you uh, is really surprising. I don't understand that at all. Just a bad decision, I think. I doubt there's any malicious intent there. Just that's many people have different racing lines through this turn too. Not everybody takes it out wide because there's not much. It's not like you get to carry a lot of speed around here. But what we end up with is, well, what do we end up with? The tactic scared him off the previous line, but he still has good presentation on you, and therefore that apex belongs to him. He still has good presentation. You got to leave more room. You gotta leave respectable room for your fellow driver, and to pinch him all the way in and then right into here that's an X, or that's a strike. Battle for position. Clean overtake. Little bit uncomfortable with their actual line through. We have a good over under with well, almost a good over under. Good over under that had some mild contact, and which unsettled the car and then eventually causes both of them out. That's unfortunate example of what can happen when you're racing hard with people with both cars already have damage. I'm not gonna go with any X's on this one. Whoa. Oh. I believe what we have there is a very unfortunate thing, is just a couple turns earlier this car was damaged, and he hasn't had but a couple turns to figure out how that damage is affecting the car. And you can see him trying to get it to the right, and it's just not going. And then once there's a touch, that made it even worse. And then what do you do? I'm going to rule this one just a racing incident. A very unfortunate occurrence. One that I believe could have been avoided with more caution with the damaged car. But I do believe he was doing more than he could to try to prevent that. I think. And besides, I think we already have more than. I think he's already got two. No, actually, he doesn't have any. It was the other car that was involved in that one. It looks like from this view that the car is banging into him, like he's turning left and hitting him, but we could see from the inside that he was trying to turn the wheel right the whole time. But I do have stipulated in the rules that if you're crabbing a car back, it's still your responsibility to keep it clean. So I am gonna put an X on this one. Make sure I get the right or the strike. Uh, because it's unfortunate for him that he hasn't had but a couple of turns to figure the car out. But keep in mind that's when you just need to take it slower and try not to be involved in a battle with anybody. Facilitate passes when you've got a limp-in car. So some statistics after the review. We have 5 drivers receiving 1 strike, 4 drivers receiving 2 strikes, 1 driver receiving 3 strikes, and a protest. Now, my first thoughts on the review is I saw a lot of incidents and solo wrecks based on cars being damaged. And as much as my first inclination is to, oh, we need the free repairs so that people can get their car repaired and do that. That's just not where this league is headed. Hopefully, the penalty system and the more we race together, we learn how each other races, and we get better at showing respect in racing room and preparing for and timing our passes in a full 90-minute race, as the majority of these, another statistic, are in the first 10 laps. We've got what, six strikes in the first lap, and wait, where did I put my note? And then 10 strikes, no, 8 strikes in laps 2 through 10. Then there's a few more strikes after that, but they're multiples of people who already had 2 strikes, and they are also pretty much brought on by damaged car. But that's damaged car. Having the free repairs is not where we're going with this league. We'll get better. We'll learn each other's things. We'll get better at showing respect. Racing lines will improve. It's an open league. We've got a lot of rookies in here. I'm grateful that we've got a few aliens who like to come out here and challenge themselves. A few amateurs who are showing some good pace together. There's a lot of good racing out there, and this is let's keep in mind that me going through these reviews, this is for these strikes. This is hopefully it's a learning experience. Well, it is a learning experience for me because I'm Mr. Extremely Average. I'm an okay racer. I'm not well versed in all the rules and regulations. I have a desire to get better at it, as do the members who are showing an appreciation for this league. The reminder from the rules and the regs for the strike system. It's it's designed to incorporate um, a learning experience for everybody because they're easy to serve. It's a drive-through penalty for 1 strike, and you can serve it in the first 10 laps. I recommend you serve it early, as we're seeing here that those first 10 laps are where most of our strikes are coming from. That's where the most chaos is on the track. Uh, for a 90-minute race. That's sad at this point, but there's a lot. We're still brand new at this. But quick reminder on how that works. Basically you start from behind the wall. So the pace lap will go by without you because your car will remain behind the wall. At which after the green flag drops, that is when That is when you click the join race button, the green race button. It'll start you in the pits at that point. Often each track has a different timer, but there's usually a delay of 5 to 30 seconds or so before your lollipop guy will lift up and let you get out there. And then you have 10 laps for a strike one status to come into the pit entry and do a drive through. Just drive all the way through, maintain, don't get a speeding penalty or you'll have to do it again. But just drive all the way through the pits, don't stop, and that will serve it in those first 10 laps. If you've got a strike two, then you can serve the strike two in the first 5 laps. So it's the same starting procedure. So if you start off behind the wall, and like I just laid out, then that opens you up to serve strikes one and strikes two in that race. First 5 laps of drive-through will serve your strike two, or if you only have a strike one, that would also serve your strike one. But you do have up to lap 10 to serve a strike one. So if you're stuck with two, which a few of you are, the first 5 laps, you can get rid of your second strike, and then in the remainder of up to the first 10 laps, you can get your second strike served. So that'll mean you'll still have the opportunity to enjoy a 90-minute race. You'll get the experience the experience of being in traffic around drivers, faster, slower, equal on pace, so that we can really learn from each other and we can all get better at this. One last reminder, just I'm not good at this. Appreciate y'all for listening. Love the feedback everybody's given me, the appreciation for the league. I still really have some high hopes for this. And there's only one race left in this exhibition season, so please serve your strikes in the final race if you do show up for it. But they're clearly going to be wiped for the official season. Everybody will start with a clean slate on that one. Stay up, practice smart, Mark.